G'day YouTube, how the heck we doing? It is Foul Play here, and we're back again today for some more modern action. It's going to be continuing with the 3 Leyline of Sanctity here in the main deck. That's mostly to make up, save some sideboard slots for us to be able to go up to 3 copies of Force of Vigor, 3 copies of Stony Silence, 3 of Sanctifier in Vec, and 3 of Gaddock Teague. Flex slot wise in the main, we're running 3 Griffspoon, 2 Sentinel's Eyes, 1 Audacity, and 2 Spirit Mantle. With the lands, we have got 2 basic plains, 1 forest, and 1 Besage. We mostly went over the sideboard just before, but however, we are going to be running 2 copies of Dromoka's Command here today. I've got a funny feeling this card might be good, and it may actually be better for us than Solitude is. So 2 copies of Solitude will be leaving the deck in favor of Dromoka's Command. Okay, match number 1 here, we lost the die roll versus Darcel. We've got a no creature hand, we'll be mulliganing. Opponent has kept at 7, another no creature hand. Throw that one back as well. Alright, well this is a little bit of a joke at the moment. Alright, so at 4 cards we have finally seen a keepable hand, so we will keep. Probably bottom Besage, Rancor, I reckon Temple Garden. Let's just pray this Leyline of Sanctity is good against burn or something. Maybe I'm just screwing myself over land drop wise, looking for everything else. White, great. We're versing Hatebears. This cannot be good for us. Windswept Teeth off the top. I think I missequenced there. I should Windswept Teeth over Razor Edge Thicket to play around Lead and Arbiter. Yeah, Ghost Quarter. This is definitely Hatebears. Oh, great. We're in for a world of hurt now. Griffspoon off the top, sure. Let's start attacking. I don't even know if we show them the Windswept Teeth here. That just makes them feel better about playing this bad boy, and I don't know, it doesn't feel good for me either way. Yep, well, joke's on you, opponent. These are redundant because we don't have any mana. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and concede there because I don't think we're getting any value continuing this match. Okay, so here we can see a Death and Taxes list from actually the 28th of November. So Skyclave Apparition can be a pretty big beating for us. Thalia can really slow us down. Lead and Arbiter, as we saw there, just ended the match straight away. Anointed Peacekeeper also seems a little bit annoying. Looks like in the sideboard they've got Chalice of the Void and March of Otherworldly Light as cards to be concerned about. Alright, I think our sideboarding here is pretty straightforward and telegraphed. Just Leyline of Sanctity out, Force of Vigor in, hope we don't mulligan to 4. Classic. More classic stuff. Oh my god. How is my deck this bad for me? We're just going straight to game 2 here, is that all this is? Alright, another mulligan to 4, we called it. Opponent has, however, mulligan to 5 themselves, so I guess we have technically a play. We need a bottom 3, so if we go 1, 2, 3, try to gamble with Light Paws and see if we get there. I don't think Glade Cover Scout on its own is really going to do the thing, so let's just gamble. Besage as well doesn't tap for white, so it's pretty bad with this hand. Slow start from our opponent, possibly a turn 2 Thalia for them. Classic bug there, right? Bottom is rubbish, look for mana, get punished. Stoneforge Mystic. So Counter Complete is pretty good against us. Spirit Mantle sort of ignores it. Griffspoon also ignores it. Yeah, that's a little bit of a beating. I think we want to play our auras a little bit around a Skyclave Apparition, removing them. So jamming Evasion in Griffspoon or the Powerhouse of Ethereal Armor both seem bad there. Giver of Runes, yep, so our opponent's going to have that. Whole shabazz going about. First Strike, Trample, Indestructible, Haste. So it does tap when it attacks. I say we gamble on Light Paws here. And sure, I'll shock. We'll take a turn off attacking, see if our opponent has the answer for Light Paws. Equipment onto the battlefield. Also, just note that this creature has haste, right? And our opponent elected not to attack and put pressure on us during their turn, but hold up blockers and try to screw us. So we want to fade removal for light pause. Want to fade lead an arbiter, bitch in our lands. We did fetch around this a little bit by the fetch shock as opposed to the fetch for basic. And they're just going to hold up blocks. Alright, well, good luck to your opponent. I am going to most certainly throw this one down. I can't search, can I? Okay. Lead an arbiter, rubbish. Alright, so Griffspoon attack. Icon of Emeria is not the worst thing. Opponent down to 2 cards in hand. We can't really play more than 1 card spell a turn anyway. That's a weird attack. Sure. First strike. Give a protection, falls off. Okay, wait. I'm just completely out of it right now. Not playing well, obviously. I don't think we're in a position where we win most of these games anyway, but definitely that was a punt. Trigger fizzles. Sure, let's just keep the pressure on. Opponent can choose to block or not. We might have trample in a future turn, so they might want to trade this fella. Yep. So that is good news, actually. We traded our Hyena Umbra totem armor for a flying blocker, but they just have another flying blocker in hand. So I think secretly sacrificing the Hyena Umbra was the right thing to do, but obviously it hasn't worked out because our opponents just bitched us the rest of the way. Where are we at now? It feels like concession territory soon. No attacks. Yeah, well, I mean, that doesn't matter because we don't have any mana anyway. Alright, our opponent attacks us for 5. If we hit, like, a land that doesn't hurt us, alright, cool, we just don't. Alright, concede that one, on to the next match. Alright, looks like we're reversing a Tron deck here. We lost the die roll. I mean, it could be Tron, it could be Underworld Breach. Either way, attacking for 2 on turn 2 seems pretty weak. I think we throw this hand back. This hand looks a little bit better, obviously, or a light. If we top deck exactly what we need, we might be able to turn 3 kill. Need to top deck land 2 auras, one of which is Ethereal Armor. We're just versing Prowess. Okay. Interesting. This could be incorrect if we top deck a white aura. Also, Soulscar Mage causes our opponent to put -1 counters on the creature rather than dealing damage, so it's like a permanent shrink on Light Pause. Preordain, so Jeskai Prowess. Interestingly enough, our opponent's tapping the blue mana here, so we have a turn to get past counter magic. Opponent, 2 cards to the top with Preordain. Soulscar Mage, sure. Alright, no blocks. We can block a bigger one later, and we might be using our green mana this way anyway. So, looks like that's exactly what we're doing. Yeah, I think if our opponent throws away like a mutagenic growth here, not that I even think they have that, I think that's fine. Expressive Iteration, also think that's fine. Just gives us a turn to do stuff. We can get Light Pause plus probably Ethereal Armor, Dead to Unholy Heat. I guess it exiles to like a white effect, bounce by Teferi. I think we wait one more turn on the chump block effect. Find a Rancor off the top. Our opponent can kill Light Pause in response to what we're doing here. So if we add 3 power to our creature, that makes it a 5/5. That's dead in 3 attacks. Yeah, I'm not like in love with this, but I think we sequence it this way. Alright, no Stern Scolding from our opponent, which is nice for us. We'll Rancor on this creature and we'll trigger. Alright, that looks reasonable. Alright, we probably want to get the Totem Armor effect. So Spider Umbra on our Light Paws. Attack for 4. I guess, actually, we probably should have got Vigilance then. I think this is a misplay. We probably expect removal and get Sentinel's Eyes. And then our opponent just can never get past this Giant Scout. And then attacking is awkward as well, because we'll just block it out. Expressive Iteration, sure. Finding a Darcy, alright. Another setup turn for our opponent? This is wild. Okay. Scalding time. So I will trade the Glade Cover Scout this time for a Soul Scour Mage block. Yeah, this was like actually super stupid because as we discussed earlier, our opponent will put -1 counters on Light Paws due to the Soul Scour Mage. Alright, let's see if we can reverse that punt. See how our opponent responds. Alright, Sentinel's Eyes on the right creature this time. I think we just attack in the air. We kill our opponent in 2 turns anyway. We have good chump blockers. If our opponent didn't attack with any of the Soul Scour Mages last turn, it could mean they're stuck with like 2 mana stuff in hand. They're not interacting with this mana on board. And play out an extra chump blocker here. End of turn. Opponent fetching their lands. So if our opponent can get Delirium, they will have a flying blocker. We do have Rancor, which does that trample, good stuff. Sprite Dragon as well. Okay. For our opponent's Suicide's a creature, they've got sorcery land. They've got no instant in the grave at the moment, and no creature. Underworld Breach. Okay, do we care about this? Not really. Sveil. Anything of note? Just a land. Alright, that's fine by us. Alright, so another land into, I guess, Preordained from the grave. The mana's disappeared straight away. Yep. Oh, they find a Lava Dart. That is an instant type. So they can start shrinking our Light Paws by sacking a mountain here. It's not amazing. I see Mish's Bobble as well, targeting us. Alright, so our opponent has cast a few Mish's Bobbles. Additionally, they did flashback Lava Dart, sacrificing the Sacred Foundry that was on board. Alright, here comes the attack step. Our opponent leaving back Sprite Dragon on defense. So we have to block the Soul Scour Mages. I think we go for the trade here. Potential reset of Spider Umbra of Sentinel's Eyes. Most likely it's just going to be a mutagenic growth on the Dragon Rage Channeler. Nope, okay. How bizarre. So Sentinel's Eyes is still live. We really want to see like a Griff's Daybreak Coronet or something, an Ethereal Armor. Yep, that's what we were calling for, right? We can call our like mulligans, but we can't call drawing relevant cards, can we? Okay, what do we do now? Attack for 2. Reset our Sentinel's Eyes over here. I feel like we're dead next turn. We can't attack with Scout into the Sprite Dragons, so see what happens with this attack. Alright, our opponent chumps it up. We get to reset our Sentinel's Eyes, and that is turn for us. Alright, another Expressive Iteration here. Alright, so Expressive Iteration finds Path to Exile into Exile. Looks like our opponent wants to leave Sprite Dragon back on defense again. Let's block out a Soul Scour Mage. We can't afford to take free damage anyway. We have Hyena Umbra as a backup. Path to Exile on their own Soul Scour Mage that is not here. Okay. Does our opponent not realize we have First Strike? They do not realize we have First Strike. Okay. Classic. Alright, let's play it all out. No attacks. See who top decks better. Likely the blue deck, right? Alright, opponent Fari Islet sacrificing. We play at our Temple Garden as well to play around Spell Pierce, by the way. Swift Spear, sure. Double Swift Spear, Gigantha to hand. Hey look, one of our 3 cards that win us the game. This, Rancor, Spirit Mantle. So that's going to gain us a lot of life. Mutagen Growth could make Hyena Umbra full off potentially. Outside of that, like, we're just attacking every time. Oh, there is a chump block now. Do you have the mutagenic growth? Yep, there it is. Opponent goes down to 1 comedically. Yep. Alright, so we're going to lose our Hyena Umbra, and then we're top decking to, like, Ethereal Armor. Yeah, mostly just Ethereal Armor, Spirit Mantle. I guess another Daybreak as well would probably up our power enough. Future mutagenic growths are turned off here. Underworld Breach. Alright, Preordain, one of which top, one bottom. We see Metamorphose as well. Plenty of triggers happening over this side. Misha's Bobble from the grave as well. Expressive Iteration. Seeing Preordain into exile there. Preordain is cast. So we have a pretty straightforward victory here. We just block the Sprite Dragon in the air. We Griff Spoon activation from the graveyard on our Bogle, attack for 2 in the air and kill them. So they can't attack with this Sprite Dragon. 7 cards in hand. Opponent attacking with 1 Swift Spear. I'll just clear 0 blocks. That's fine. So yeah, drawing to Spirit Mantle mostly. Rancor's not good enough. Ethereal Armor would add 5, putting us up to 13, which is also not good enough. Light Pause is not good enough. Alright, so what does this mean? Do we play Light Pause? Do we keep it in hand? Opponent up to 10 cards in hand. I think we keep it in hand, potentially get like a reload after a block next turn. Fortunately, we don't have like a haste aura in the deck like Hammerhand to attack and win with Light Pause next turn. Our opponent is down to 16 cards in deck, by the way. Turn 9 deep Jeskai Prowess things. Still no attacks from our opponent, which makes sense. Spirit Mantle, cool. So I guess we play around Spell Pierce, right? Spirit Mantle our guy. Alright. And that's a very bizarre GG. Alright, lovely stuff we got there. Alright, so we mostly saw our opponent's deck in that game there, given they went like, what, 44 cards deep or something, some nonsense. Sideboard wise, they've got interaction of Path to Exile for Light Pause, Prismatic Ending for, you know, auras, Spell Pierce for auras, and Stern Scolding for creatures, plus the Wear Tears for our enchantments. A reminder as well, guys, if you do enjoy this video, please consider liking and subscribing. So Sanctifier in Vec has protection from red. Essentially, it's going to be an efficiency swap for Light Pause. It's going to block a lot of what our opponent is doing. Leyline of Sanctity is probably fine to come in as well, and we'll just take out like 4 Light Pause. This is probably a matchup where we would have Solitude, Path to Exile if we were running it. However, we don't have that. I don't think Dromoka's command is quite good enough. The enchantment with sacrifices itself end of the turn anyway. Preventing damage from an instant or sorcery like a lightning bolt doesn't seem that big a deal. I'm not really expecting Deflecting Palm, but hey, maybe it'll get us. And the fight mechanic could be very, very dicey. So submit this, get into it. Also, a real quick one, guys. I have been putting together a sideboard guide. Hopefully this one's going to be available with the video, so keep a lookout like down below for that. And yeah, I'll finish it off and load it up for you all to have for free. Alright, so we see this hand. We can fetch around potential Blood Moon. Our opponent was way too greedy to be doing a Blood Moon though. Sanctifier and Vec seems fantastic here. We have the flying, we have the Spider Umbra. Alright, so turn 1 Bogle. Alright, so we see a bauble from our opponent, Steam Vents in its hat, attacking for 2, we'll take that. So this means we can get Sanctifier and Vec in underneath a Stern Scolding, which is very nice for us. Let's go ahead and do that. And then we can just attack for 1 point of damage. Should note as well, opponents can actually get around Sanctifier, or cards with protection from red, protection from creatures. If they can stop damage from being prevented, it will cause the protection to effectively do nothing, because of the wording on protection is like, cannot be blocked by, cannot be targeted by, cannot be dealt damage. So the damage prevention just, you know, fizzles essentially. Attack with Sprite Dragon. I mean, we're just pretty damn happy here, aren't we? Opponent's like tapped out as well. They've even like hard passed the turn, so you've got like literally nothing to worry about. Opponent can't hurt Sanctifier, can't block Sanctifier. Yeah, that should be game shortly. I guess a Wereterror can go lengths, interact with Audacity. We're pretty happy with our life total currently. Metamorphose. Metamorphose on blue-green? What have they got that's green? Like another Metamorphose? So weird color to float. Mutagenic Growth, hard activation. Maybe they just don't want to spend life and want to cast Mutagenic. Alright, another Metamorphose. We'll see what they do with these colors now. Another green. Green-blue. I guess they just don't have Prismatic or Wereterror in hand. Aren't anticipating drawing into it and trying to like just kill us on the spot. Well, it would have to be like a Sprite Dragon in the air is the only way, right? The blue mana just disappears. Opponent attacks. Sure, we'll block this one. Alright. I'm fine with that. Kill on Crackback. Rancor off the top just to make like ultimately sure. Yeah, beautiful stuff. Let's go team. Alright, that's a pretty sweet one. Alrighty, we lost the Darrell here. This hand looks like reasonable, I suppose. We'll keep. Only 1 white mana source in hand though, which is a bit annoying. Forest to pass. Looks like we could be versing a Rhino Dex here. Let's just get Temple Garden and play our Bogle. And then make decisions afterwards. We may want this Besaju, but probably not. Triome, is this Living End? Living End would be pretty bad for us. So Shock in Foundry, up the Beanstalk. Okay, so it's Beanstalk Elementals. Find the Audacity. Like, just in this matchup, we just want to race, right? And Audacity is perfect. That gives us our attack for 5. It means we don't have to gamble on Light Paws or anything silly. Looks like our opponent has Evoke Solitude. Now they can use Cosmic Rebirth to get it back onto the battlefield, right? Oh no, that's mana value 3 or less, pardon me. Alright, so this is the Cascade Bean deck most of you will be familiar with. It's running Jace Wielder of Mysteries for some reason. I'm not entirely sure what that is. I guess it's a 5 mana Planeswalker that does stuff, right? So interaction of Leyline Binding, interaction with creatures with the Fury Solitude, bouncing of enchantments with Teferi, tapping of lands with Fire Ice, gaining life, Omnath, the Bloodbraid Elf and Shardless Agent help them cascade down into their Beanstalks a lot of the time. In their sideboard they've got a chunk of Force of Vigors and maybe a Gemstone Caverns for when they are on the draw. So Sanctifier is good against Fury, but bad against Teferi, Solitude, Ice. Overall, it's not a card that I'm going to be looking to board in. I think this is the matchup for Dramoka's Command, like any Leyline Binding deck. You can get a lot of value there. We possibly want some number of Force of Vigor as well. Leyline of Sanctity will be coming out. Then Light Paws maybe 2 copies of Light Paws out. Yeah, just the extra target of the beans as well. I think Force of Vigor has enough value to come in. This almost feels like overboarding to me. It's possible that we should only have 4 of these and keep like a 3rd Light Pause in the deck. Alright, so we see this like no Bogle hand. There's a Light Pause, but we spoke about how fragile that card is already. Opponent mulls to 6. We'll be going to 5 now. Opponent is also at 5. I guess we just keep this, the multi 4. Just keep and pray, I suppose. Interestingly enough, Dramoka's command won't prevent Fury damage, so this could be very dicey. Alright, opponent 4 card hands, Flooded Strand and Pass. Spirit Mantle, that does give us protection from elementals, but not from Teferi. Alright, so tap Sacred Foundry for our opponent. We'll get a tapped Temple Garden. Land off the top. Alright, I'm going to wait till turn 3 Light Pause to hopefully give it some sort of protection straight away. Shardless Agent for our opponent. I'm guessing that finds Beans. Oh, client lagging a bit here. Alright, so you can see Solitude, Leyline Binding, Force of Vigor, Teferi. Subtlety as well, that'd be an annoying one. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we're going to Light Pause. We're going to Hyena Umber on the Light Pause. It's going to give it protection from Fury, but not Solitude. And then we're going to go ahead and get our Rancor, which gives us like good play against Teferi Bounce. Opponent just has Leyline Binding. We can interact with that, although they can choose to sacrifice the Beanstalk instead, which is pretty bad for us. And Shardless attacking in, putting that pressure on us. Beseiju. I mean, Beseiju is just excellent. Yeah, I'm keen for that. What a great one-off to draw, right? Shardless Agent attacks. Crack. It's going to be a hard cast Fury, I suppose. No double red, actually. It can't be Fury. Time Warp? Oh, God. That's disgusting. Alright, that'll do an extra turn for our opponent. Alright, let's Beseiju here. Our opponent is holding up a bunch of mana, but this is uncounterable. So there can't be a counter magic effect. They can still like fire down or Light Pause or something, remove it from the battlefield, Solitude, another Leyline Binding. Opponent gets a Triome. Looks like a Solitude here. Yep. Alright, drawing to any creature now, hopefully. Alright, I'm going to concede and just go to the next game, because I don't think we're going to get there. No. Nothing to change in sideboarding. Let's just go to the next match. Nope. God, this is such a bad 6, man. Going down lower in resources can be really painful. I don't think this 6 wins the game with like a 2 power creature. We'll throw it. Ditch this. Ditch this. Sure. Let's hope we only top deck auras here. This is much better 5. That is not an aura deck. How dare you. End of turn trio. Aggressively shocking in Temple Garden. I guess they're going to ice down one of our lands here. We don't really care about that. Not icing down a land. Alright, this smells like Leyline Binding. I think we hold the Daybreak Coronet in hand because we don't want to lose it to the Leyline Binding. Alright, we put our opponent to 12. I'm still going to hold this in hand. There's no value in playing this out. Lorien revealed, cycled, sure. So that one found a Hallowed Fountain. Fountain in tapped. Passing to us. Alright, I'll peck you for another 4 points of damage. You're not getting my Daybreak Coronet. Not this early. Aha, Force of Vigor on our Hyena Umbras. Alright, that'll do it as well. What did they pitch to Force of Vigor? Beanstalk? Oh, that's pretty good value for us. Don't mind that. Leyline Binding on the Sentinel's Eyes. You bastard. Alright, I'm glad we didn't play this one out, or we would have been like 4 for 3 then and had no agency at all. Opponent now playing a Beanstalk. We are now top decking to an aura, maybe. 1 mana aura. Let's go. Treat myself to a little Rancor action. Don't mind if I do. No, you're not Rancor. Lame. Nope. Shardless Agent. Beans! Our opponent has found Beans. Drawing a card. 5 in hand. Plays a land. That one's tapped. Temple Garden's still there, representing another ley line. We find the Rancor. We wanted you last turn. Let's just pretend our opponent does not have interaction and attack. The longer this game goes on, the more likely our opponent is to win. Of course, if they don't know the proper sequencing here, I guess like this is just fine because it's still clean 2-for-1s us. Alright. But this way, like if they did this while we attacked, we would have lost our creature as well because I would be attacking here. Teferi. Minus, what did he bounce? A beanstalk? No, no targets. Alright. Well, we've got no card to pitch to Force of Vigor, but a couple of good targets for Force of Vigor though. Note that Teferi means we can only play at sorcery speed. Although I think Besaidu gets around that. Opponent attacking with this Shardless Agent. We go to 18, 6 in hand. Plus on Teferi. This could mean Supreme Verdict, although you'd want to do that instant speed. Time Warp. Okay. Plus on Teferi, plays a land, no attacks, back to us. We find a land. Yeah, sure. Let's go ahead and get rid of all of this stuff. Opponent's packing Force of Negation. This is not good for us at all. Note the auras we would have got back would have been Sentinel's Eyes of Rancor, so we would have been unable to attack that turn. Opponent, Hardcast Solitude. And attacking in for 5. We'll take that. Nice grip of 7 in hand. Teferi's just been plussing. Our opponent can bounce their own beans for an extra card draw. Doesn't look like they've been doing this. Godless Shrine is an interesting inclusion. Does that mean like Prismatic Ending or something? Ardent Plea, sure. Finding Beanstalk. What did our opponent reveal there? Just more forces, subtlety, Omnath. Another Time Warp. So we're just versing like Bean Time Warp here. Note the Elish Norn as well, which I guess is can be a Cascade Bean Omnath elemental thing, right? Opponent attacking for another 5. Alright, we'll pack it in there. Opponent had just enough interaction that they were able to stabilize and do their thing. GG's, on to the next one. Match number 4 versus Yoshi's Rage. Nice name. We see this one-lander. I think this is worth a keep. The upside is really good with the aggression in hand. Looks like we're versing a blue deck. Is this Fish or is this Control? Just basic Island Pass seems weird to me. I really hope we don't get Stern Scolding here. Temple Garden off the top. In the interest of playing around Blood Moon in future turns, I'm going to Glade Cover Scout off Temple Garden. Excellent. It's resolved. We get to have a game of Magic now. Cavern of Souls. This is totally Fish. Yeah, there it is. Merfolk has been named. Uncounterable spell. It's got to be a Lord, right? Nothing else you'd be playing Sorcery Spade. Tide Shaper on our land. Alright, that's pretty good. It went through all the extra effort of making it uncounterable versus us. Well played, well played. I respect that. So our opponent's now got Island Walk like enabled. We've got an island enabling Island Walk in future turns. However, Ethereal Armor. We've got plenty of other stuff we can play out in future turns. Ethereal Armor seems like the best one to resolve initially. And we do see Lord of Atlantis. That's about the best possible thing for us. Like, we get to resolve either Vigilance or Trample. Probably Trample is slightly more important. Opponent can permanently churn out creatures with Duke Brute Pilgrimage. Land is fantastic. I think we just fetch a basic here. And I think we hesitantly ignore Daybreak Coronet to ensure Trample. So we lose the life gain there to ensure we get Trample down. We still have our Vigilance. So this is good if our opponent spews out tokens specifically. Otherwise we can get walled out by Hexcatcher and tokens. No blocks from our opponent. They're at 11. We're at 11. Let's see how this one progresses. Opponent does currently have 6 damage on board. Unblockable. An extra Lord can take that up to 8, but we'll still be alive. Alright, and opponent plays out Sphaloon. I mean, that's a pretty good one. It was a lot of damage from our Glade Cover Scout. But if they're not interacting with our mana, it means we can just continue the hurt. Yep, so we can't block this guy. We've got an island. Daybreak Coronet will add 4 power, giving us an attack for 11. Audacity plus Hyena Umbra will give us 5 power. I think we want the life gain, especially before our opponent Hexcatcher and sacks creatures to counter. Should be a concede soon from our opponent. I don't think they win this one. So our opponent does indestructible, block 5 of that damage out. We'll just trample the remaining 6. We still gain a lot of life though. In a very comfortable spot here. So our opponent casts the Hexcatcher. This can counter non-creature spells. Looks like they're just holding up chump blockers. We can add plenty of power to the board. We deal first strike before they do any damage to us. So we can just like run over and wipe their whole board really. Plus we'll have the totem armor down just as a real safety net. But I think after we machine gun their lords down, I don't think Sphaloon's going to have indestructible anymore, and we're not going to take 12 points of damage. Alright, instant speed Hexcatcher. You've got it. We're sacrificing one. This means Mutavault can't block either. So at this point, they need to sacrifice 2 creatures to counter the Hyena Umbra, at which point we just wipe out their Sphaloon and their whole board. Alright, that's very weird to throw away a creature like that. Attack for 16. Maybe they were hoping we'd misclick, and that was their only route to victory. Interestingly enough, we can play Bogle off the island, we just never did. Alright, cool. On to sideboarding. Alright, so this is the Merfolk deck. We've pulled up the one by Nikachu because he is the master after all. So Deep Pilgrimage, whenever one or more non-token Merfolk you control become tapped, create a 1/1 blue hexproof Merfolk creature token. This, in conjunction with activate Mutavault, tap Mutavault for mana, will create a token, and with Rishadan Dockhand, tapping, tap target land, it taps, so they deny you mana, tempo, and then, you know, get 2 creatures that are chump blockers against us, and that's pretty strong. Additionally, there's Tishani's Trickbinder here, and this card counters activated or triggered abilities of artifacts, creatures, planewalkers, and then yeah, that's pretty good against things like Solitude, right? Fortunately, we're not running Solitude this leg. Sideboard wise, they've got Force of Negation, they've got Chalice of the Void, Spreading Seas as well, and even Subtlety can be annoying for us. So previous configurations of Merfolk, I would not be bringing in Force of Vigor. However, this one, on top of the Aether Vial, does have the Deep-Root Pilgrimages. There's potential for Chalice of the Void in the sideboard. Leyline of Sanctity is just a perfect swap out. There's also potential for us to bring in Dromoka's Command. I don't really see too many cuts I want to make though. Maybe we could cut like 1 Daybreak Coronet because our mana might be denied a little bit, and bringing 1 Dromoka's Command. Just double white could be hard to get to, especially on the draw. Yeah, this is not what we want to see, right? This feels like a bait hand. Only 1 land source. Our opponent has many ways to deny us some mana. We still don't have any first strike. We have evasion, but no first strike. It's like so close to a keep. I think if there was a second land or a first strike aura, I'd be tempted, but we can do better. Better includes a creature. Alright, keep this. Do we gamble on Light Pause? I think we gamble on Light Pause. We could keep an extra land there to guarantee some stuff, but this Light Pause, Spirit Mantle, Daybreak seems pretty good. Aha, no Aether Vial. You love to see it. We'll play the Scout out over the Bogle in case we have an island in future turns. Yeah, this definitely felt like a Tide Shaper tap down mana. No turn 1 play. Turn 2 deny mana. That's fine by us. Hopefully we see one more land off the top. It's not a land. I think we're supposed to go in on Light Pause here though. Goodness. Hard to tap mana on this client. No attacks because, you know, 2-2. We see Lord of Atlantis. This fella has Island Walk now. Attacking in. Cannot block that. This is great. We get to untap and do stuff. I love untapping and doing stuff. I'm not expecting Spell Pierce, so I'll just cast a Spirit Mantle here. Yep, no Force of Vigor. Let's go team. Get our Daybreak Coronet as well. And I will happily attack for 6 life. Alright, our opponent plays out Sfealoon. That's fine. Attacks for 3. Sure, we cannot block that. It has Island Walk. Find a Rancor. Alright, so Rancor finds Ethereal Armor. And attack for lethal. Not lethal. Damn. Alright, attack for 12. Our opponent cannot block. We have protection from creatures. Just a matter of time. Next turn we will have the kill. And opponent concedes. Alright, so we navigated that quite nicely. I don't think interaction of 1 Tide Shaper is good enough for our opponent. I think they should probably have mulliganed more aggressively. If you are playing this matchup, the most important things to resolve are First Strike, some description of evasion, and then maybe a Sentinel's Eyes for vigilance. And that will just help you play around those tokens, chump blocking you out until they have a ridiculous board state. Alright, match number 5 here. Our opponent won the die roll. We see this 7. It's not amazing. All we have is Rancor. We don't have double white mana. Only 1 aura. Light Pause could potentially be good in future turns. You know what? I don't want to get screwed. It's probably correct to mulligan there, but I don't want to get screwed. If this is a scam deck, we've just made a very smart decision. It's Murktide? It's Murktide. Alright. Daybreak Coronet. Cool. Play out a Bogle. I will use this Bogle to trade with the Ragavan, deny a turn 2 Blood Moon for our opponent. Alright, I will happily block that. Hey look, a white land source. Lovely. Let's go ahead and Glade Cover Scout. Ah, come on opponent, you're supposed to counter that one. I think we wait on the Rancor as well. Like, the upside of going Light Pause Rancor or get a Sentinel's Eyes, something like that, seems pretty high. Oh, opponent plays Seek the Beast. Questing Druid antics here. It's pretty exciting. Got some Temur going on. Alright, so our opponent is only holding up 1 island. There's no red mana to remove a Light Pause here. Let's go ahead and cast a Light Pause, and then we can just Rancor and make a decision on what we're getting if Rancor resolves. Rancor might get countered like a Spell Pierce. I think it's worth going for the upside here. Okay, cool. And we might be able to get like Hyena Umbra and just protect our guy, but I think we just Sentinel's Eyes. I kind of like attacking with the Scout here. Offer the trade. We get a reset on Rancor, another trigger on Light Pause. Opponent does not block. No end of turn effect with the island. We see Expressive Iteration. A counterspell. Preordain into the graveyard. So yeah, I guess they just lose whatever it was. They miss on a land drop again, which is, I'm sure, frustrating for them. Let's go ahead and Daybreak Coronet. We can just throw this on Light Pause at this point. So we get a trigger. We have a 6/6. I think Ethereal Armor should just be good most of the time, right? And attack with everything. Okay, opponent concedes. Let's go. So it's possible we're versing something like this Temur Prowess list that we see here. This particular list does not have Ragavan, but I'm sure someone would happily put that in over a Soulscale Mage. It would make a lot of sense. We did see the expressive iterations. We could see interaction in Lightning Bolt and Lava Dart, so we were fortunate to dodge those in the previous match. In the sideboard, anti-life gain in Roiling Vortex. Maybe some counter magic like Spell Pierce, Force Negation isn't really something the deck would play though. Alright, so Sanctifiers seem good here. Light Pause seems average, and we can bring an extra Leyline of Sanctity in, and I think that's fine. I don't think we want Dromoka's Command here, just like in the previous Prowess matchup. Opponent keeps a 7. We see this 7. It shuts down Ragavan quite nicely. It has the upside of Ethereal Armor and having the mana. I'm going to gamble this. If they don't play Ragavan, it's likely bad for us. If they do, we're pretty happy. Alright, no turn 1 play. They could just like do a Subtlety or something of that description. We'll play around Mystical Dispute. Breeding Pool shocked. Stern Scolding. Yeah. Alright, well, I guess another upside here. I probably would have mulliganed a hand like this if it didn't have Ethereal Armor in it, so I think we're fairly happy about that. And now we see another Ethereal Armor. Alright, we're in a pretty commanding spot. Not expecting Pyroclasm type effects, but we could definitely get blown out by that here. Just want to deny our opponent using their mana efficiently, although this could be another Questing Druid effect end step. Seek the Beast, yep. So they exiled 2, one of which was Spy Bluff Canal, the other is Expressive Iteration. Expressive Iteration gets played. Questing Druid is fine. They can't cast it this turn though. We shoot Tishana's Tidebinder. Oh, that's pretty spicy. Our opponent is on a brew. Wild stuff. Alright, let's see what happens with Ethereal Armor here. Does this resolve? Opponent plays Spell Pierce. I am going to pay 2 mana for this Spell Pierce. Sure. It slows us down, but we want to resolve as many auras as possible. And our opponent is not exactly being fast currently. We've already played a land for turn. Attack for 3. Alright, opponent playing Questing Druid now. How big does Questing Druid get? That's the question. We see counter magic effects. Sure, all in on one guy. We'll try for that. It's possible Spell Pierce gets Daybreak here. I think we hold Daybreak for another turn. That means we can cycle Horizon Canopy in our opponent's end step as well. Attack for 5 is still decent pressure here. Plus, like, Daybreak is good if you, like, Daybreak follow up Rancor or something like that, or vice versa. Aha! Stern Scolding. You got it, opponent. Get that rubbish out of your hand. I'm sure you're very happy to. I'm not sure if this is correct or if they want to hold it for a Light Pause. Obviously, we did side Light Pause out, but, you know, even the... Explosives on 1. That's a pretty good card against us, actually. I don't like our chances anymore. Our opponent had to have drawn this for turn, right? There's no way they're Stern Scolding a Bogle if they're just holding up Engineered Explosives. Like, surely they want to counter the next one and be a little bit patient. Sure. That's going to happen. So, we want to see a creature? Question mark. That's not a creature. Goodness, this interface is so clunky. Seems like the longer I keep it open, the more it like lags out and does weird stuff. Alright, we'll concede there. Alright, Stony Silence seems good. Leyline seems bad. I guess we bring back in 1 Light Pause and call it a day. Good old no creature hands. Throw it. This is a keep. We have totem armor currently. I'll bottom one creature. Immediately shuffle that back in with one of our 2 Windswept Heaths. Like, why is this not working? And Glade Cover Scout resolves no effects from our opponent. And we see a monkey. Alright, mostly we should be able to ignore that monkey, right? So if we crack... They could explosives blow up the board this turn, so... We should Hyena Umbra now. We definitely need to resolve 1 Rancor now before we like get hit by a Blood Moon. Alright, so an attack for 4. We'll ignore the monkey. Opponent plays Darcy. It does not seem like they have explosives in hand. Looks like they may have missed a land drop though. Ragavan finds Spirit Mantle. They cannot currently cast that. Alright, Rainforest Crack. Are they casting? Do they just want this fella on jump blocks the whole time? Yeah, they do. I think that's fine. We're going like pretty big next turn. Bogle off the top. So what we don't want to see is engineered explosives. No, that would set our opponent back as well, and we'd be able to redeploy 1 to 2 Rancors, and if we hit a green source or not. We'll attack for 10. Our opponent will fog 2 of the damage, and we'll put our opponent down to 7. Excellent. Breeding Pool in play tapped. It's weakness. Utter weakness. Let's go. I love it. I love how they do this pre-combat before they see if they need the mana or not. Temple Garden. Perfect. Go away, Temple Garden. We don't need you. Opponent Lightning Bolt's face. Sure. Expressive Iteration. Alright. Any aura and we win. They could force of negate the aura. I don't think Expressive Iteration decks really run that though. Our opponent has already played a land for turn. Mish's Bobble is a free card though. Off the Surveils we see Questing Druid and Steam Vents into the graveyard. Alright, our opponent hangs on for at least 1 more turn. Let's attack for 10. It's got a 4/4. And yeah, this thing has to attack next turn so it can't block our creature. Our opponent knows about this Glade Cover Scout, so that seems like a good one to play to potentially block their Ragavan. Alright, so just attacks with the Darcy this turn. Puts us to 5. Seek the Beast. Sure. We see Spell Pierce, Misty Rainforest, and opponent concedes. That's yeah. That's a league for us. That's a friendly league this time, but we do get most our play points back, and also a chest, so 3 and 2, not too bad. So I'm unsure if our configuration is 100% correct. I haven't super loved Leyline of Sanctity in the main deck thus far. I haven't versed like a single scam or burn player where having this in my opening hand has been relevant. But I am confident we do want some good number of cards in the sideboard. The only question is Dramoka's Command better than Solitude, Path, March of Otherworldly Light, Prismatic Ending? I think that's a flex slot. I think Stony Silence is slightly better than Collector Roof, even though it's slightly less aggressive against Tron. Seems fine to me. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Hopefully you're not too upset about me playing a friendly league instead. I've been getting slapped a little bit, and I just want to generate some like play points and chests and tickets, so I don't have to keep spending IRL money on this game. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, you know what to do down below. Please consider commenting, subscribing, getting that algorithm ticking along. Till next time, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you then.